In a dramatic move that has shaken the international stage, Burkina Faso's president, Ibrahim Traoré, has made a bold decision that has sent shockwaves throughout the world. He's ordered the departure of U.S. military forces from his country. This unprecedented move has sparked outrage in Washington, where the American administration had grown accustomed to having a significant military presence in Africa. However, Traoré's decision marks a crucial shift in the balance of power, one that challenges the long-standing narrative of Western interventionism in the African continent. For decades, U.S. military personnel have been stationed in various parts of Africa, often under the guise of combating terrorism and promoting stability. Burkina Faso, located in the heart of West Africa, was no exception. U.S. troops, along with their high-tech drones, have been deployed to counter jihadist groups operating across the Sahel region. The mission was often framed as part of a broader effort to curb the spread of terrorism and protect American interests. Yet, beneath the surface, many Africans saw these interventions as little more than a strategy to maintain Western control over the region's vast natural resources, including gold, oil, and minerals. Ibrahim Traoré, who came to power following a military coup, has defied the expectations of many by taking a stand against this foreign military presence. His decision to expel U.S. troops from Burkina Faso is not just a political maneuver, it's a declaration of sovereignty and independence. This move signals a sharp departure from the Western-backed military strategies that have long dominated Africa's security landscape. It's a bold rejection of the idea that Africa needs foreign intervention to protect itself, and a clear message to the U.S. that the days of unquestioned military presence on African soil are over. Traoré's bold action is significant not just because it challenges U.S. military operations in Burkina Faso, but also because it comes at a time when the U.S. is attempting to recalibrate its position on the global stage. Under former President Donald Trump, the U.S. had pursued an aggressive foreign policy that emphasized military might and intervention. Trump's administration sought to expand America's footprint in Africa through military installations and alliances with local governments. Yet, as Traoré's actions demonstrate, many African leaders and citizens have grown increasingly wary of these tactics. The timing of Traoré's decision is crucial. Just as Trump was rallying for a more forceful stance on the world stage, Traoré delivered a direct challenge to that vision. He positioned himself as a leader who does not kowtow to foreign powers, but instead stands firm in his belief that African nations should control their own destinies. This move has made Traoré a symbol of a new African resistance, one that rejects foreign domination and embraces self-reliance. This is not to say that Traoré's decision is without controversy. Critics in the West have painted him as a radical, someone who is jeopardizing the safety and security of his people in the name of political posturing. They argue that U.S. troops were vital in the fight against terrorism and that their withdrawal could lead to further instability in the region. However, these criticisms fail to address the deeper issue at play: the long-standing legacy of neocolonialism and the exploitation of African resources by foreign powers. Many Burkinabe and Africans in general see U.S. military presence as a form of occupation, one that often exacerbates local conflicts rather than resolving them. Traoré's rejection of U.S. troops comes at a time when Africa is looking for alternative solutions to its security challenges. While terrorism remains a serious concern in the Sahel, Traoré believes that African countries must take the lead in developing their own security strategies. Instead of relying on foreign troops, Burkina Faso is investing in its own military infrastructure, local defense capabilities, and intelligence networks. This is a stark contrast to the U.S.-backed approach, which has often relied on drones, special forces, and surveillance to combat militant groups. The idea of African nations developing homegrown solutions to their security problems is not new. Leaders like Thomas Sankara, who led Burkina Faso from 1983 to 1987, envisioned a continent that could stand on its own 2 feet, free from foreign influence and interference. Sankara's vision was one of self-reliance, economic independence, and political autonomy, principles that Traoré seems to be drawing upon as he charts his own path for Burkina Faso and the broader Sahel region. While many in the West may see Traoré's actions as reckless or short-sighted, the reality is that his move is part of a broader wave of African self-determination. From Mali to Guinea to Niger, African leaders are increasingly asserting their sovereignty and challenging the traditional power dynamics that have allowed former colonial powers and the U.S. to wield disproportionate influence on the continent. Traoré's stance is an embodiment of this shift. as he seeks to reclaim Burkina Faso's autonomy and put the interests of his people first. One of the most significant implications of Traoré's decision is the challenge it poses to the Trump-era foreign policy framework. Under Trump, the U.S. treated Africa as a battleground for geopolitical competition with China and Russia, often using military force as a tool to counter perceived threats. This approach, which was framed as part of a broader America First agenda, failed to take into account the unique challenges faced by African nations. Instead of supporting Africa's aspirations for peace and development, Trump's policies often exacerbated the continent's problems, leading to greater instability and resentment. In contrast, Traoré's vision for Burkina Faso, and for Africa as a whole, is one that prioritizes local ownership of security and development. He is betting on national self-reliance, African unity, and strategic autonomy. His plan is not just to expel foreign troops, but to build a new security architecture based on local defense, regional cooperation, and grassroots stability. This is a plan that involves community involvement, local leadership, and sustainable development, values that are in direct opposition to the military-centric policies promoted by Trump. The reaction to Traoré's decision has been mixed. While Western media outlets have been quick to criticize him, many Africans see him as a hero, a leader who is standing up to foreign interference and asserting the rights of his people. Social media platforms, often seen as a battleground for competing narratives, have seen a surge in support for Traoré, with many young Africans expressing their admiration for his courage and leadership. This growing movement has made it clear that Africa is ready to take charge of its own destiny, and that the days of foreign powers dictating the continent's future are numbered. Traoré's move is not just symbolic, it is a sign of what's to come. As more African nations look to break free from the influence of former colonial powers in foreign military forces, they will look to leaders like Traoré for inspiration. This is not the end of Africa's struggle for autonomy, but rather the beginning of a new chapter, one in which African countries take control of their own security, development, and future. In conclusion, Ibrahim Traoré's decision to expel U.S. troops from Burkina Faso is a pivotal moment in the history of Africa's struggle for self-determination. It challenges the long-standing narrative of Western dominance in the region and offers a new vision for the future, one where Africa is no longer a pawn in global power struggles, but a key player in shaping its own destiny. Traoré's actions are a wake-up call for the West, signaling that Africa is ready to stand on its own and that the era of foreign military intervention is coming to an end.